Marker can be used as a drawing tool as well, but because marker only really produces one value, we cannot do shading the same way, because if you press harder with a marker, it's going to make the same color as if you press light with a marker. Now, when doing this technique with marker called stippling, I highly recommend finding a thin tip marker. So if you're going to use a Sharpie, I use the ultra fine point Sharpie. Or I also have these Stabilo markers that work very well, very fine point. Be careful, sometimes we put the wrong colored caps on them, so always check the back of the marker to see what color it is. Don't always trust that. Or test it on a piece of scratch paper before putting it on your final product, okay? So those are available as well. Now, stippling is making lots and lots of dots, all right? So this does take a little more time. That's why I drew this apple pretty small. I didn't draw it really large because it's gonna take a little time to do all those dots. Now, the number one thing that I want to tell my students first is these are felt tip markers, meaning this is not the strongest material up here right at the tip. And beginners like to take these, and I'm going to demonstrate this with the back of the marker, they like to take this and do this. All right, and I say it sounds like a woodpecker. You should not do that. That will just smash that felt tip and ruin it and make the marker unusable. So, please do not smash the markers down against the paper. Now, I always say put the cap right on the back so you don't lose it, because if you lose the cap, the marker gets ruined, all right? It dries out and is no good. So put the cap right on the back there so you don't lose that. And you want to hold the tip up towards the tip like a drawing pencil, like you're writing, so that you can be very accurate. You don't want to hold it in the back here. Now, the more dots we make, the darker the value appears. So as I go on the edge here of this apple here, you can see I'm pushing down, no noise. I'm also can be very accurate about where the little dots go. And I'm putting lots and lots of dots in here, all right? Now, as I move across this direction, the dots are going to become less and less as it gradually fades to a lighter value until it gets over here and there's no dots. Now, they didn't put any dots in some of here. I would fill it in with a little bit. You can see maybe it dips in there, and we're going to add a little more in this area here because it gets a little darker and then it goes back towards lighter again. And this is a patience required, okay? But it is a really unique look. I know I've had a lot of students, they'll complain about, oh, this is so hard, it takes forever. But I find that the quality of the art, the look is something that students and people really like. And it's not a difficult thing. It just does take a little time, okay? So patience in art is always required. So take your time, practice, applying more dots, and hey, maybe I need to get a dot right in there so I can be very accurate and get right into the little spaces. You can see why you need a small tipped marker to do this, okay? So give this a practice. Try doing some stippling. Now, stippling can also be done with colored pencil, marker, oil pastel, any painting. It's not just a marker technique, but works very well with markers, okay? So you can see as I'm going across here, sometimes I find it helps also squint, all right? And as you squint, you can kind of see those colors will start to mix together, the values will start to mix together, and you can see, oh, I can go lighter or darker here. And applying less or more dots is the trick, okay? So why don't you go ahead and give some stippling a try.